So, Andre, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to talk about rapid ejaculation. I don't know that I've ever done, maybe I've done a podcast on it years and years ago, but it comes up a lot. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it's something that happens more often than people talk about. Let's just say
yeah,
that.
yeah. Can we start, though, with a little bit of your story in terms of like why you are so passionate about sexual health? I don't know if you're specifically interested in men's sexual health, but
Yeah,
what's your background in this field?
I am a big proponent and supporter of everyone's sexual health and wellness. My background really started back in, I would say, early 2014, 2015, where I was having sexual experiences with people in my life that were reflected back to me to happen to be very like therapeutic and healing for them. And for me at the time, not really understanding what sexual wellness or really, just the therapy around what we can do in
Hmm.
sexual experiences. It was a bit of a kind of a surprise for me. And after being told by a few people that I should do this work for a living, I listened and then I
Okay.
pursued. I feel like I've been doing this work actually for most of my life in some form or fashion, like
Yeah,
my own
yeah,
sexual discovery, my own curiosity, my own education, but really taking it on as a profession in the last 10 years or so.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So how do we even define rapid ejaculation? And maybe this is a separate question, but we used to call it premature ejaculation, and
Hmm.
now it's rapid. So I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but like, how do we even
Yeah,
say
I mean,
what's too fast?
right, exactly, exactly. And I believe, with the idea of like premature, meaning that this happened before it was supposed to happen, is I also think created a little bit of pressure or expectation. And while we terminology changes constantly, I believe the term rapid ejaculation just brings it more into the fold of this. There's not like a certain time that this is supposed to happen, but this might be happening faster than the person ejaculating or the person that they're experiencing this experience with is desiring. So it leans a little bit more to the favoritism of just understanding that this is a natural thing to happen, where premature, I think, created a little bit more pressure
Yeah,
uh, around ejaculation. But rapid ejaculation basically is what it sounds like. It's a certain amount of time, usually a short amount of time, that, and we're talking predominantly with men,
hmm,
will ejaculate or orgasm. And that can lend to, particular challenges in relationship if, say they have a female partner, and generally women might take a little bit more time to warm up, to allow their body to come online in a sexual experience. And if someone like a man is, orgasming, coming in a minute or 3 minutes, is that really allowing enough time for their partner to also enjoy the experience? And as we get older, unless we're talking like we're in our like late teens, early 20s, as we get older, the refractory period after orgasm, after ejaculation, takes a little bit more time. So with all of these different components, it can put a lot of pressure on an individual who might be struggling with rapid ejaculation.
hmm,
It might be putting a certain amount of pressure on a partner who is also with that partner to um, be very kind and gentle and understanding of what that experience was. But it can be a strain on a relationship.
yeah.
So that's one of the things I work with men, with couples.
Okay. So it's not a set amount of time, like under a minute or something like that. It's really more subjective than that for the
Very
people
much.
involved. Right.
Yes,
Okay.
very much. Because, for me, it's great to have a quickie every now and then. It's also great to have an extended session that allows us to explore other realms. And if every experience is lending to a shorter period of time and it's affecting the relationship,
Right.
then that's something to talk about. If everyone's cool and no one's having an issue with it, then great.
We're right. We don't have
That
a problem to solve. Right.
exactly, yes.
Right. Do you know somewhere I read some statistic, but like any stats about how what's the average that men last, or like what's the I guess the context for
I
rapid
bet
versus not.
right. You could go on Google, you could go on any AI, ChatGPT, and there's going to be some data that's pulled, but is that data actually accurate? Because
Yeah.
everyone is different. I
Right.
mean, the pooling samples that they're, getting this data from is a small sect of people for a certain amount of time. Uh, on average, what you might find through like social media or through the internet will be anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. But to be honest, like again, most people that I know who are struggling with this are lasting just a little bit short of that window, or
Yeah.
maybe in that window. And even in that window, they might have a partner that says, you're not lasting long enough for me, or
Right.
why
Right.
why do you come so quickly after 5 or 6 minutes? I mean, 5 or 6 minutes is a considerable amount of time,
Right.
depending. But
That's a
if
lot of stimulation.
right, but then if that partner who's having an issue with that amount of time had a partner previously that was lasting 30 minutes or 45 minutes, obviously
Right. Right.
now there's that comparison. And
Yeah.
that's where I think the challenge comes in, is when we compare ourselves or someone compares us to someone, and
Yeah.
we'll use porn as a metric because, an average porn like clip could be 20, 25 minutes, but people don't know that they're taking breaks, that there are also other performance enhancing substances that are helping in those
Right.
experiences. And it does also, I want to say, it is very much a psychological component with how we're connected to our body, that oftentimes we might be getting more excited quicker than we would prefer. And it's just practicing how to bring that energy down and allow that to take more time.
Yeah.
Because the most men that I work with who come to me as clients, when I ask them about their self-pleasure or their masturbation practices, it usually lasts, again, 3 to 5 minutes, but it's generally on a timeline. It's very fast. It's not as connected to their body. It's more of like
Yeah.
trying to get to a goal.
Yeah.
And our body remembers these things. So if
Right.
that's what we're practicing over and over and over and over,
Yeah.
that's how we're going to be performing in the
Right.
bedroom.
Right.
So that's what I do. I would work with them to learn how to shift that into, let's take our time. We don't have a goal. Maybe we even take that goal off the table and explore what is just great sensation throughout the body, and
Right.
where we can take that with a partner.
Yeah. So, in terms of the causes of this, I mean, in talking to my own clients, right, sometimes it's really high excitation, like arousal and interest, but sometimes it's anxiety, right? Doesn't it have the same effect in the physiology?
Hmm. I would say there's times, yes. I'm always a and
Right. Both
both,
and both
rather
and yeah.
both and thank you. Um, so yes, anxiety could definitely play a factor. I would say the smallest factor that I've seen, and then also talking to medical professionals, urologists, the smallest factor is a biological like factor, meaning that there's something happening within the person's body that is causing them to rapid ejaculate. So that's the generally the lowest. It's usually something around the psychological aspect of things. So anxiety plays into that as well. Um, and it's practice.
Yeah.
It's practice on whatever. If you're lasting a minute to 3 minutes and you're not happy with that, or you and your partner are not happy with it, let's look at what you're doing to practice before getting to that experience, and how you can shift one or two things that could, and in a short period of time, elongate that experience. It
Hmm.
might feel really good to be erect and penetrating a partner, and all of a sudden you're feeling that swell of like, I'm getting close, take a breath.
Yeah.
Maybe don't take a moment, kiss, enjoy other touch connection before being like, oh, I'm in here. I'm supposed to stay in here until I'm done.
Hmm.
It's just training. It's
Yeah.
training and being able to realize that everything that you might be currently like feeling or afflicted with can always shift.
Yeah. Okay. So what are some of the, I don't know, when you talk to people, what are some of the strategies they've tried that don't really work, like, or misconceptions about this? Like, I'm
Mm.
imagining people are doing different things trying to address
Yeah,
this on their own.
you'd be surprised that most of the people that I talk to don't really try to address
Okay.
what they do is they actually avoid,
Ah.
and they'll either they'll find a reason or excuse to not have sex, or they will um maybe like they'll go down on their partner, but then if the partner ever wants to provide any stimulation to them, they'll shut that down and say they're
Hmm.
not in the mood. Um, so there's most people that come to me aren't actually implementing any tools.
Okay.
And so, but some tools that they can implement, some of the quick ones that we work on is control of breath, control of speed, control of their, arousal state. Like, we can be at a heightened state of arousal and still be able to not take ourselves right to that point of fruition. We can come right to the brink, but it takes practice. It takes that point where it's like this is feeling really good and I want to keep going, and it's this is feeling really good. Let's take a moment and just enjoy that sensation.
Yeah. I'm sure if we could, like you're saying, practice, right? If we're used to just climbing up the stairs, we're not used to pausing and just sitting on that stair
Yeah,
or
that's a
taking a
great,
step back. Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
Okay. And when you say managing our arousal state, is it just, I mean, are we supposed to be like thinking about the bills? Like I can't imagine that. I mean, I'm imagining that's a
Yeah.
strategy people might use, but that doesn't keep you connected with your partner in the experience, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And uh, I I'm careful to say anything around like should do or
Yeah.
this is what, but a technique can be where if you're feeling that moment coming quicker than you would like, it's shifting also physically whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be thinking about baseball or thinking about taxes. You can still be in your experience, but take a moment, take a good deep breath. There's other things, techniques that I teach clients around certain types of clenching, but it's also shifting whatever it is that you're doing in that moment and bringing it to something else that feels really good. Maybe, for instance, like your partner is going down on you and that's feeling really good, and you're like, oh, I'm really close. You know, grab them, throw them on their back, kiss all over their body, uh, bring in some dirty words, and allowing you to still be in the fun experience without having to completely shut it down. That's another thing that people say is like,
Yeah.
oh, I got to that point and then I have to stop. Well, you don't have to stop. There's other ways to just pivot, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a total stop can be disruptive to the whole experience, right? If you do some of these other things, your partner may not even notice or be aware,
Exactly.
right? You're
Exactly.
really,
I mean, for me, I've been in sexual experiences that have lasted for a few minutes. I've been in sexual experiences that have lasted for an hour and more. And it wasn't that I didn't feel the temptation or desire to orgasm or ejaculate in that longer session. I just realized I don't want this to end yet. So I'm going to shift something. I'm going to move my body differently. And at least from the lovers that I've had in my life, it's not about the orgasm for them. It's
yeah.
always been about the journey, the experience of fun, of connection. And when you can take the idea or focus of either you having to have an orgasm or your partner having an orgasm and
Hmm.
just enjoy again the sensation of body connection, then you can last for a really long time because there isn't that goal or that
Mm,
mindset of or that pressure.
yeah. How much of this practice is in solo sex? First, I mean, I'm sure you have to put this into practice with a partner too, but do you
Hmm.
coach men to really work on this alone first?
Absolutely. I like to use a sports analogy. And when we think about professional sports, there's always practice before going into the big game and making sure that they're cardiovascularly ready, that their technique is on point, so that when they perform, they're doing it to the best of their ability. So when I work with men, I teach them and work with them on how to practice these skills on their own, and then they're able to then bring this into their partnership. And I've never worked with anyone that didn't find some form of success, but it can
Yeah.
take time
Yeah.
because we're breaking a pattern that a lot of us as men have been practicing since we were 13 years old. So
Right.
you're not going to break that overnight.
Right. Right. And how, I mean, how can a partner help? Because I'm sure they can hinder, right? Like there's ways they could be shaming or adding pressure or not making it even a safe space to bring this
Mhm.
up and talk about it.
Yeah, everything you just said right there are definitely ways partners can hinder and again create more pressure for I want to imagine that everyone who might be pressured or feeling that moment of shame from another partner, um, the intention of that partner isn't to harm
Hmm.
or hurt. They're in their own way, like crying out, saying, "There's something I'm not getting from this. I need your help to meet me here." So where partners can be helpful is understanding that we're all human beings, that we have our own emotions, that we're vulnerable, that we can be fragile. Men can be fragile,
Hmm.
and just being patient and maybe working with that partner, saying, "I realize that this is a thing that is happening or recurring often. I want to help meet you to." For us to be able to share these experiences where we're both really enjoying them, what can we do together? And now you as that partner who's hearing that, the one maybe, struggling with rapid ejaculation, you feel seen. You don't feel othered. You don't feel compared. You don't feel so much judgment.
Yeah.
You're on that journey together.
Yeah. Part of what I really like about what you just said is it is about both people's pleasure, not just meeting your partner's needs by lasting long enough and performing. It's it is about the
Yes.
experience for both people. And I think we
Yes.
can, when I struggle, we can lose sight of that sometimes, I think.
Yes, and it's understandable when again we've seen a lot of whether it be pornography or erotica or even just movie scenes where there's this expectation of people just in the throes of passion, clothes ripping off, there's less than 20 seconds of, what looks like sex. One or both people are having an orgasm, and it's
Right.
like, oh, like this is what I'm supposed to model. And that's just, you know, it's an unfair expectation.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find in your work that most people have struggled with this kind of consistently through their life? Is it something that shows up later in life
Mm.
sometimes? Like what's is there
Hmm.
anything related to the phases of life or
Mm.
relationship?
I've seen kind of the full spectrum. Sometimes it might be something that they've been dealing with for quite some time, but generally there's a point or like what I call like a fracture point that things shifted for an individual. And it could have been someone was cheated on, or someone was shamed or judged for the size of their genitals, and at that point, things started to change.
Mm,
Um, but I will say that regardless of where it started, if people decide to want to do something about it and work on it, they can. And again, I've yet to work with anyone that wasn't able to shift their perspective of what they were capable of. But the hard part is really is owning that there is a challenge that you're currently having
yeah.
and being able to have the strength and the courage to come to someone like myself in order to work through it rather than hoping that it's just going to go away. And that's something that I hear quite often when
Yeah.
people like, I thought that this was just going to go away, and then I'm at the breaking point because my relationship's now in jeopardy.
Yeah. Is there anything different working with somebody who goes, minutes, but would like to last longer, and somebody that's like ejaculating, 15 seconds, like immediately upon penetration or something like that? And
Hmm.
is it the same process and the same solution no matter
It's
what?
the it's the same process. I wouldn't say the same solution. It's the same
Okay.
process of looking at what is the current practice as far as I always start with self-pleasure. That's the
Hmm.
first thing that I'll dive into is how are you self-pleasuring? Walk me through. Like take your time and walk me through.
Yeah.
And then from there, we will unpack and kind of diagnose and decide what is the phased approach. So the solution might be different because there might be a partnership that um, they're just wanting to ejaculate once, and then there's a partnership where they want to ejaculate multiple times, and there's different ways to bring in diet, physical activity. It's not just the physical technique
Mm.
that that person's doing. There's a lot of other factors as well. But I always start with the same origin.
Yeah. Okay. And in your work, do you ever, I don't know, do you ever recommend somebody pursue something like SSRIs that can have an impact on
Mm.
medications that might do something?
Yeah, well, I'll say first that I'm not a licensed
Right.
medical professional, and through my own research and also through my own life experience of being in relationship and being and working with clients who are on particular SSRIs, that they can have an effect depending
Mm.
on what the medication is, depending on that individual. I will never blanket statement say people should not be on any form of medication or
Right. Right.
SSRIs, but realizing that when looking at the certain contraindications or looking at some of the things that can prohibit us being fully connected to ourselves because of that particular medication, is giving yourself some patience and grace and realizing that this is just something that might have to come with the territory if you're taking those medications.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anyone personally who was taking an SSRI that didn't have some form of struggle connecting to their body,
Mm. Yeah.
because that's literally, the point of
Sort of what
most
it
of
does.
SSRIs. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'll say about that.
Okay. And it does sound like I don't know, like a theme through all of this is how to be more confident. As opposed to being ashamed and embarrassed, and I almost picture like tail between your legs kind of energy around sex.
Hmm.
Like, how can you step in and be confident and be proactive about what you need to do to dictate what
Yeah.
stair you're on, all that? Do you have any? I don't know. What's your best advice for people to
Mm.
grow their confidence?
Yeah. Well, that's a hard one. Like growing
Yeah.
confidence. I mean, I would say I'm a pretty confident individual, and I definitely have moments of struggling with confidence. I mean, I believe that's part of our human experience is,
Yeah.
whether or not we're feeling sexy or whether or not we're feeling like powerful in that day or um, so what I generally tell people is you're not alone. You're
Mm.
not alone. That if you're feeling a time in your life where you're not feeling confident or lacking or feeling insecure, don't feel like you're just going to be stuck there forever. That there's always hope.
Yeah.
And beyond the confidence, it's also really just tuning into yourself and being with your experience and starting there rather than the pressure of I'm supposed to be this grand master sexual dynamo for someone else, and only if I'm providing them this, then they're going to want to be with me, and then they're going to be in like their pleasure all the time, and that puts a lot of pressure. So
Yeah.
I always tell men to really take time, slow down, and tune into what it is that feels good for you, what allows you to really be in your bliss and your pleasure. And it might take time. It
Hmm.
might take time to figure that out. But then once you have that, then you get to share that with someone else. And then you get to ask and learn about what they like and what they enjoy and how you guys can do this together rather than you as the man are supposed to be the only one orchestrating how and when this amazing sexual experience takes place.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that speaks to, I think, the ultimate benefit of addressing any challenges is,
Hmm.
I don't know, that what, increased intimacy, more pleasure, more ability to just like show up and enjoy this with a partner instead of thinking you have to perform.
Yeah, I mean, performance is a big one.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, we have a lot of examples of why performance is like looked at as favorable. Like and I think that that has set us up for more people having these challenges of I don't look like this person. I'm not lasting as long as this person. This person has a larger, you know, penis than I do. Shit, I'm already fucked. I'm
Right.
just not gonna I'm just gonna, pretend that the world is gonna just not like me or like what I have to offer. And now what are we doing? We're disconnecting from our body, disconnecting from ourself.
Right. Right. And ultimately our partner if we're engaged in sex, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on my website, which is coming-closer.com. And then I'm also on Instagram at Coming Closer with Andre. And I also have an online course specifically for men. And this course is called Talented Lover. And a lot of the topic that we're talking about today is we go over in that course and teaching you techniques and helping you with some of the challenges that you might be facing. So definitely, again, know that you're not alone, that there's always room for improvement. Practice makes perfect, and we all start somewhere. So even if you feel like you're a sexual dynamo, there's things that you can learn. If you feel like, why do I even bother? There's things you can learn.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.